Hello and welcome to today's live session. Thank you so much for joining me for this take two that I had to redo. As you know, I went live on Wednesday, but no one could hear me, and I didn't know that you couldn't hear me. Have you ever gone live and recorded only to find out later that no one could hear you? Again, that was me on Wednesday, and honestly, that could have derailed me. But instead, I gave myself grace, and here I am for take two. So today, I'm going to be recapping the past 4 weeks, focusing on the impact of emotional burnout on your personal relationships, including how it affects your interactions with your kids, your spouse, and others around you. My focus today is really to highlight how emotional burnout affects our relationships, share some insights from the past few weeks, and revisit strategies to help manage these impacts. Over the past few weeks, I've been sharing on how emotional burnout can stem from our personal relationships, the things that, the relationships that we are expending a lot of time and energy on. Emotional overinvestment in these relationships can lead to feeling drained and exhausted, possibly leading to emotional burnout, which is where I found myself. And that often leaves us feeling confused as to the why behind it, the why behind why we ended up in that state of being in the first place. Hi, I'm Leslie Gaudette. I'm a self-care strategist for female entrepreneurs. I specialize in creating systems that turn daily stress and constant overwhelm into clarity and calm. My goal is to ensure that you're present for life's important moments, both in your business and beyond. Through my self-development journey, I've truly learned that managing my personal and professional life successfully has required me to lean into continuous growth and learning. And by embracing this mindset of growth and learning, that has allowed me to really understand myself better. It has also improved how I manage my relationships with others, with myself, and all of my other responsibilities. Now, the purpose behind me creating the Emotional Burnout and Personal Relationships series was really so that I could equip you with the knowledge and the tools to help you manage your energy and your time more effectively, more efficiently. The time that you expend in other people, especially if they're energy drainers, we all have some people like that in our lives. Sometimes they don't even realize it, and sometimes we don't even know that that's what's happening. But understanding this right from the start will help to prevent that emotional depletion, ensuring that you are maintaining a high quality of life by keeping your energy stores full, which really is about leaning into self-care and taking care of yourself as a non-negotiable every day. Filling your cup. You've probably heard that term used many times. I've used it many times, but it really is about filling your cup daily. So today we're going to be revisiting the key points from the past few weeks and focusing on how emotional burnout impacts your relationships with your kids, your spouse, and other important people in your life. So let's just recap briefly each stage. First, we're going to talk about emotional overinvestment in our relationships. So that was the first week that I talked about when I first introduced the idea around emotional burnout and these 4 stages, which I have termed the emotional overinvestment to emotional depletion, emotional exhaustion, and then final emotional breakdown. So let's go through the stages. So emotional overinvestment in our relationships. This is how we are dedicating so much emotional energy to personal relationships without adequate self-care, and that can lead to burnout. So this is when you can have, when I just mentioned having energy drainers, someone in your life that you're pouring everything into, could be a couple of things. So it could be an energy drainer, someone who is constantly coming to you with the same story or same problem all the time, and you spend a lot of time with them trying to help them work through it, but there doesn't seem to be any resolution. It feels like they're not willing to move on, to like move forward, move through it, and actually resolve the issue, but they stay stuck, and it's like they want to constantly rehash it and bring it up again, but that's really draining. And then you have the other person in your life, maybe who is not necessarily an energy drainer, but you are obviously very passionate about helping them, and you really want to see them succeed. You really want to help them get through whatever it is that they're going through. But this is where you're investing so much of your energy, you're forgetting to like restore your own, like replenish your energy. So in this particular stage, this is where you're going to start, where you're neglecting your own needs, and that can lead to being really extremely irritable and resentful to the people in your life that you are pouring all of your emotional time and energy into. And it can affect your relationships by causing tension and misunderstanding. So constantly prioritizing other people's needs over your own, this obviously is why where you become that depleted in your energy, where you get to that full-on burnout. It really can lead to that feeling undervalued, and it can strain your communication with the people in your life because they don't understand, you don't understand, you're not even really speaking the same language. It's like you're talking at each other rather than to each other. So this is really important for you to learn to set those healthy boundaries in place around your time and your energy, and making sure to allocate time for yourself and your self-care routine, ensuring that you don't overextend yourself emotionally. Now, I've shared my story, my story from the very beginning, where I was talking about how I ended up in emotional burnout, and that was because I was investing a lot of my emotional energy, my time, especially with my mom, because she had, lost her youngest son, her youngest child, back in September of 2023. And the previous November of 2022, she lost her eldest son. So within a span of a year, less than a year, really, she lost two of her children. And obviously this was really hard for her, very hard on her. And so I, coming right out of the gate, thinking I've got to be the strong one and be the one that supports her, making sure she's okay. And, going through all of those emotional stages of grief with her, and realizing that part of going through all of that too was that my mom has kind of really been that half empty glass kind of mentality. So glass half empty mentality. She's never really been optimistic about things. She's always looked to the negative in situations. She's always looking for something to go wrong. And so going through all of this, and then having to having this being her typical way of being with everyday life, and then adding that on, compounding that on with the loss of two sons, and then me trying to be the strong one, it was really draining me and really taking a toll on me, on my energy. And I realized that was, I didn't realize it at first, by the way. It took like 8 months for me to come around to really figuring it out. And so we're going to get to that. But I realized that this is where I was, but I didn't know that until I started really doing some digging and some, reflection on, why I found myself at full on burnout. And so that's where it starts, is that emotional overinvestment, because you're investing so much of your time and your energy on other people that you forget to take that time, put boundaries around your time, like how much time you're going to expend in that, so that you can actually protect your energy and restore it, so that you can be that person who shows up for them. So now the second stage we talked about was, in week 2, I talked about the impact of emotional depletion on relationships, which occurs when the constant demands from your relationships leave you feeling drained. It can make you it can make you less patient or impatient, more withdrawn. I know patience isn't really an easy thing, but when you're in this particular stage, patience can seem like it's fleeting. It can affect your interactions with your children, making you less engaged and more reactive to them, which of course they're not going to always understand. Really, no one's going to really understand what you're going through unless you voice what's happening, unless you are open and honest and sharing what's going on and why you are being so reactive. Otherwise, people are just going to be left feeling confused. You might feel too tired to play with your kids if you've got young kids, or you're short-tempered with them, and that can harm your bond and their emotional development, because they're not going to understand. Like I said, they're not going to understand why you're reacting the way you are unless you have that conversation with them. I really feel that I don't think that children are too young. I mean, I'm not a mom. I never had children, but I truly feel that that honesty, that really being honest from the get-go and teaching your children, helping them develop in those formative years, teaching them about this from a young age, I think is going to be valuable for them. That's just my personal opinion. I think it'll be valuable for them to learn right from the start so that they're not left feeling like, what's going on? Like, why are you reacting to me this way, and not fully understanding and maybe putting up barriers of their own, walls of their own to protect themselves because they don't know any better. They have nothing to, they don't know how to respond. They don't know how to react because they don't really have those life experiences like we do. So it's really important to pay attention to that. So in this particular stage, you know, prioritizing activities to recharge your energy is really important. That can include exercise, so going for your walk. If you have maybe stopped going for walks and this is something that you were doing, you know, getting outside into nature, looking around you, that's like mindful walking, looking around, seeing what's around you, listening to the sounds around you, that can be really helpful. Hobbies, maybe you used to paint, or you're an artist. There's maybe it's through music or written, or as again painting, or it's maybe you are into sculpture, whatever that is. Taking up your hobby can really help you to manage your energy because it's like it's filling your cup. And simply just taking breaks when you need them. I feel like taking breaks is so overlooked. People get so busy and they think, oh, just 5 more minutes. But what are you doing to yourself when you do that? Is that you're just depleting more of your energy. You're not refilling it. You're not, as I would say, refilling your cup. It's like you keep emptying it out more and more. So it's really important for you to pay attention to that. So then the third week I talked about the emotional exhaustion and how that impacts our relationships. It's a state where you're feeling emotionally worn out due to the constant stress that you're under from, especially as I was saying, sharing when I was being there, the strong one for my mom, and also my younger brother, because I have one brother, remaining brother, and he was trying to go through things, and learning from him in my conversations, finding out that he was going through some things. So I was also trying to be the strong one for him. Again, in all of this, I really didn't take time to fully grieve the loss of my youngest brother because I was already like turned on, like that on mode of like being the strong one, being the one that everyone else can lean on. But I wasn't allowing myself to get that support that I needed. So everyone was leaning on me, and I had other personal things going on in my life as well. And I just felt like everything was going out, but there was nothing coming back. And so it was really, really hard. Also, it can cause you, when you get to this stage where you're emotionally exhausted, to detach from your loved ones, lose interest in activities that you might have enjoyed doing together, and maybe making your partners and your friends feel neglected. I was having, I'm married now over 28 years, but, I wasn't always connecting. Like the last few months, I had found like the connection piece with my relationship was really being, it was being challenged because of the emotional state that I was in, and not recognizing that. And I realized I didn't realize that at first. I still was going down this rabbit hole to emotional burnout without recognizing it. I didn't know what the burnout was from. I was looking at it as being from work related because, not only do I have a coaching business, but I also have a consulting business where I support a team of lawyers and paralegals in California. So I have two businesses at the same time, and I didn't recognize what was going on. I thought maybe it's just work related. I've been doing a lot with my business, my coaching business, and a lot of things were going on there. And I thought, well, maybe that's what it is, but not recognizing really that it was from my expending the energy emotionally. I was really draining myself. And so the impact of that is really when you get to that exhaustion place is where you won't want to participate. Maybe you won't want to participate in family activities or social events because you're too drained. And what that does, it can lead to loneliness, isolation and loneliness, and misunderstandings with those people in your life. Because again, you're not being open, honest, vulnerable, you're not sharing. So nobody knows, they're confused. And so this is where it's really important for you to have that community. I truly believe that community is a self-care tool. A lot of the time, when I say that community is a self-care tool, people are like, oh, I never looked at it that way. But it is, because that means you have connection. You're not going life alone, finding those groups, those people, those support groups, or the people in your life, your inner circle, to support you when you're going through things. That's community, and that's really important. And when you talk about your feelings and you get that support, it can help you manage your emotional exhaustion better, helping you to really kind of dial it back and maybe stop you from getting into that last stage of emotional burnout, which is emotional breakdown, which is where I found myself. That was what I talked about last week. I focused on the final stage, which was emotional breakdown, and that's where it becomes challenging to function, not only emotionally, but just and other things as a whole. It can cause that instability, frequent breakdowns, a sense of hopelessness, leading to significant stress on your relationships, making it harder for others to support you because they don't, again, know what's going on because you're not articulating it. You might have frequent mood swings, crying spells can make it difficult for your family to understand how to help you, which can cause strain, confusion, misunderstanding. Again, if you don't share, they're not going to know because they're not in your head with you. They don't understand. And so it's really important that you actually be open and honest and vulnerable and share what's going on so people know how to help you, know how to support you. Another way also to manage this, because at this point you're going to find no matter what you do, at least this is where I found myself, especially, is that you're going to have to stop. It's like the professional burnout, which I'm going to be getting into those stages in the coming weeks. I'll be doing a series around that. But in this particular instance, you're going to find yourself really at that place where you can't do anything. You have to take time. You have to stop. Like my mind and my body were basically handcuffing me and saying, no, you cannot do anything now until you work on you, until you refill your cup. There's nothing, we're not supporting you in doing anything. And that's how I felt, because I really needed to take that time for myself. And I was forced to, because I got all the way to the final stage. So I had to learn to really take that time. And what I found was like meditation, deep breathing exercises, incorporating them more into my routine really helped me to relax, to recharge. It's making sure that I prioritized asking for help, letting people know how I feel. I asked my husband for support. Again, how I was saying, our relationships are affected. And so I came clean and I told him, like, this is what's going on. This is how I've been feeling. And he was able to support me, but he didn't know how to support me until I came, forward. And I said, hey, this is what's been going on. This is where I find myself. This is how I'm feeling. And so it really is important for you to recognize that they're not going to be able to read your mind. You have to be able to share so that they understand you better, so that they understand how they can support you better. Because, unless you do that, again, there is going to be misunderstanding. So I want to leave you with some questions to encourage you to reflect on. Um, uh, and I also want to encourage you, if you haven't had a chance to go to watch the videos that I did on each stage, I encourage you to go back through the last 4 weeks and get a deeper dive into each of the 4 stages of emotional burnout, which are emotional overinvestment, emotional depletion, emotional exhaustion, and emotional breakdown. Because I think that's really important, because I go a little bit deeper dive, and I give you a little bit more context around it and more tips around like how you can manage it. So I would encourage you to go back through and listen. I also want to leave you with questions to reflect on your experiences around each stage. If you've experienced this, to go back through whichever stage that you found yourself. If you found yourself all the way through, then you'll be able to relate to each stage of emotional burnout. So I'll make sure, though, that I post these questions in the comments after I finish up with the live video. Again, these questions are going to be around each stage of emotional burnout, so you can start learning to be more self-aware. Of course, it really does come down to knowing yourself, as I've previously said on my other live videos. It does come down to knowing the type of person that you are. Like, are you a giving person? Are you a yes person? Do you find it hard to say no? Are you someone who can be counted on to never say no? These are all important questions, and these are all things that you should know about yourself, because this is going to be able to help you to see, like, right out of the gate, okay, this is the type of person I am, and I know that I have someone in my life that needs that support. So before I go into it, how am I going to, like, have those boundaries around how much time I'm going to do to expend my energy? Am I going to, each time I'm with this person, okay, if I'm doing this, how am I going to recover? How am I going to refill, to fill my cup? How am I going to support myself? Because this is important, because the person that you are, when you know that, and how you manage your time and energy, is really going to be crucial to help you steer clear of emotional burnout. And again, like, really from the get-go, know how to support yourself right out of the gate, when you find yourself being that person who is supporting other people. And this is like even your day-to-day with your kids, with your spouse, with your peers, with your friends. Really just knowing, like, how you are wired is important, so that you can then say, okay, this is the type of person I am. I know I need to actually have these types of things for self-care in my life, my daily life, that supports me. I know that I need community. I need to have an inner circle of people that support me, so that I can go to them with questions, with asking for advice or guidance, or just for them to listen to me. Knowing that, and just actually having those breaks throughout your day, knowing that that's really important, to just take time to have that downtime and not be go, go, go all the time, because that can lead to burnout as well. So first, let's talk about emotional overinvestment. These are the questions that I want you to think about for this particular, the first stage. Have you found yourself prioritizing others' needs over your own? And how has this impacted your emotional well-being? Because this is going to be telling, the type of person that you are. Again, like I was saying, I was the strong one for my mom right out of the gate, not even thinking about it. Yes, of course, that's a great thing to do, but also I wasn't paying attention to the other aspects. In what ways has overinvesting emotionally in your relationships cause misunderstandings or tension with your loved ones? So again, I had a lot of investment emotionally into my mom, help her through what she was going through, with my younger brother, with my husband, with, having to, like, try to figure out, like, what was going on with me, and I wasn't being open with him. That caused tension in our relationship. So it's really important to understand that. So let's talk about emotional depletion. Do you often feel drained or too exhausted to engage with your children or your spouse? And how has this affected your bond with them? What are some signs that indicate you are reaching a point of emotional depletion in your relationships? These are questions, again, to help you to gauge where you're at when it comes to, like, your journey through your emotional journey. Because we have, like, the whole thing. When you hear people talk mind, body, soul, it's really about your emotional, mental, is your mind, and then you've got your body, obviously taking care of it, nutrition and hydration and rest, and then you've got your soul, and that's, like, making sure that you have something that you believe in, having that relationship. For me, it's with God. So I have my relationship with God, having something bigger than myself to believe in, that helps me to know my bigger why, helps me to lean into my why, to have something bigger than myself to wake up to, with more gratitude, more energy, more focus every day. So, like, mind, body, soul is really important. That's when you hear that, it's like really understanding, like, that whole mind piece is the emotional, mental piece to it, is really taking care of you. So now, emotional exhaustion, which is the third stage, these are the questions around that. Have you noticed a lack of interest in activities that you once enjoyed with your family and your friends? And how has this detachment impacted your relationships? So if you isolated yourself from people, did you keep yourself, have you kept yourself from relationships? Or perhaps maybe you have felt that you don't want to come forward, because if you share, you're going to feel judged. But the thing is, you're putting that idea that someone's going to judge you, instead of believing that they're going to support you. So allow yourself to believe that they're going to support you and come forward. I think that's really important. And then, what strategies can you implement to manage stress and avoid emotional exhaustion in your daily interactions. So again, managing stress is, there are good stresses in our life to help keep us focused and motivated and, all of those things. But there are some things stress wise that really don't need to be what we focus on, but we do, like we get in our heads a lot. And so that's why, again, that community piece is really important. Having that inner circle is really important. Having those downtimes for yourself to recharge, extremely important, so that you don't get emotionally exhausted. And your day to day. Like I said, I couldn't do anything, even if I tried. Like I had things in place that were already there, which was really great. I'd already been really super focused, and I made sure that certain things were like automations were already there, that I didn't have to worry about that. But what if I hadn't? I wouldn't have been able to do it because I just couldn't emotionally, mentally, physically get myself to do anything. I had to take that time. And then the final one is the emotional breakdown. Have you experienced severe mood swings or frequent breakdowns, highs and lows, frequently breaking down, maybe crying spells? For me, I found I couldn't cry. So maybe like, are there a lot of crying spells? How have these episodes affected your relationships and your ability to connect with others? Because again, they don't know what's going on unless you share. So if you're constantly at that high and that low with those mood things, or you're frequently having those breakdowns or crying spells, but you're not sharing, people are not going to know how to support you, and they're not going to know what's going to go on. That's leading to confusion, misunderstanding. It's really important that you think about this. And then what steps can you take to rebuild your emotional strength and prevent reaching a state of emotional breakdown again? Again, that could be really important to, again, refocusing on the people in your life, that inner circle. I've got a couple of circles of friends and work friends, and just, not, I don't know if I would say ride or die friends, but just people that are just like really close to me, my soul connections, I call them, of friends. Those I have communities that like that. And then I belong to communities where I know I can get support. It's really important to have those. Because I think community is probably one of the biggest self-care tools that you can have at your fingertips to get that support, so you don't feel like you're all alone in an island and going through things on your own. So really think about that. So take time to think about these questions and how they apply to you, to your relationships, how you show up in your relationships. That's going to be telling. Reflecting on these steps can also help you, or these questions can also help you identify areas where you might need to make some adjustments to better manage your emotional well-being. So even your stressors. Recognizing and addressing the impact of emotional burnout on your relationships is really important for maintaining overall emotional, mental, physical health. Like, it really does make a difference when you take care of you. Again, filling your cup daily, making self-care a non-negotiable on your calendar first before anything else. And making sure, one of the other things I also like to include is making sure you have some white space, meaning some blank space, some nothing filled in space on your calendar. So, because that can also promote a state of calm, because you can see that you're not like overwhelmed with things to do. And even if you have that space available and something comes along, really be intentional about how you fill it, if you want to or not. You don't have to just because you have that availability. You can actually just say, no, I'm going to use that time for me, for some self-care, to go for a walk, to listen to a podcast, to read a book, to work, to maybe go in my hobby, which is maybe painting or sculpting, or maybe playing my guitar, or maybe writing, whatever that looks like. That space is for you to do with as you please, but you don't have to just fill it with things. And what is really, really cool is when you have clarity around what your day-to-day looks like, your Monday through Friday, having those, weekly goals, and then those broken into daily tasks, and you have that clarity and that vision, you can actually create such amazing to-dos for yourself, because you're clear, you know what you need to get done, and you know that that'll allow you the time and the space and the energy for yourself, for the people in your life, to have quality of life, because that's what we want, right? We want quality of life. Now, before we go, I'm excited to offer you something special. It's my Holistic Balance and Success Audit. This audit will give you a comprehensive look at your current self-care practices and provide actionable insight tailored specifically for you. So no report, no audit is going to be the same. And what you'll get is a detailed self-care audit, which will be highlighting your strengths, any gaps, areas for improvement, how you can manage your time effectively so you can gain control of your schedule, reduce stress, and create harmony between your personal and professional responsibilities. And also uncover and address hidden challenges that may be hindering your well-being and your productivity and your overall growth. And as I said, you'll receive a detailed video. I will give you a video report as with me going through all of the questions from the information that you provide me. And I will give you a detailed video and written report with what I found and actionable steps to help you feel clear, refocused, re-energized, and inspired to take your life to the next level. So what's amazing about this is you really don't have to spend thousands of dollars to get this. The price is only $50. $50 for you to get your personalized self-care audit. If you're interested in getting yours, comment below with the word balance. So in the comments of the video, put the word balance, and I'll reach out to you, or just simply send me a message saying you're interested, and I'll send you the link for you to get in on this audit. I'm only going to do a few. I'm opening my time up to do 10. So definitely make sure that if you want to be one of those 10, that you are commenting quickly or sending me a message quickly, because once they're gone, I'll be closing them down for a little while before I offer it again. One of my clients, Liz, told me this after working with me in one of my coaching programs. She said, I've always felt like it's my responsibility to ensure everyone around me is happy. So because I wasn't achieving much in this area, it made me feel depressed. That fire that I once had inside of me was extinguished, and no matter how much I tried to reignite it, it just seemed close to impossible. I was always too tired. And my day-to-day was late nights, late dinners, and sleeping late, and a very long to-do list, which would just weigh me down. With Leslie's patience and through her guidance, I have been able to find myself again. I definitely feel healthier. I feel that the burden that was sitting heavily inside of me is much lighter now. I feel positive vibes flowing within me and my surroundings, and I'm loving it. Leslie has helped me to be better organized, to believe in myself more, and to achieve my set goals. 𝐂𝐬𝐨𝐿, another client, told me this. She said, Leslie, I want you to know that you've inspired me, encouraged, and held my hand every step of the way as I've transformed into a phenomenal brand new me, to now be able to look at every situation in the eye and see it for what it really is, and be able to see the root of it, feel the emotion around the situation, embrace the emotion and release it, and act accordingly without hurting myself or those around me, is the most brilliant thing that has happened for my marriage and relationships going forward. Today, I stand more self-confident, motivated, encouraged, calm, self-aware of mind, body, and spirit, enabling me to be the best version of myself. It's such an incredible thing when you can feel like yourself, where you feel energized and motivated, where you don't feel like life is weighing you down, and that you have practices in place that support your well-being every single day. And like 𝐂𝐬𝐨𝐿 and Liz have said that their transformations have been so profound for them, and it was such a joy working with them, and to see their transformation unfold before my eyes was incredible. Incredible experience for me. So again, if that's you and you want to get your self-care, your holistic balance and success audit, comment the word balance in the comments, and send me a message, and I'll send you the link to get it, to get in on it. Remember, prioritizing you, filling your cup daily, making self-care non-negotiable is not selfish. It really is necessary. I want to thank you again for spending time with me today as I recapped the past few weeks of the series I did on emotional burnout. I truly hope you've learned something valuable along the way, and that by reflecting and learning more about yourself, you will have better and healthier relationships, not only with others, but also with you, because it's important that you have a good relationship with yourself. I want to remind you to take care of you the best that you can. and you will show up as the best version of yourself for you, for others, for the things that you do in your life. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.